Shadows and processing one's trauma. Sometimes in life we don't realize what's traumatizing to us, and it usually doesn't come up until adulthood. And if our trauma is in adulthood, it will take us more time to process because we are conditioned to hold ourselves together, for lack of a better phrase. Remember that you have to grieve. If a shadow comes up, and what I mean when I say shadow is a weight upon our spirit, a weight upon our mind, a weight upon our emotional self, that when we are presented with a person, place, or thing, our mind does get triggered in a sense that it goes into a negative spectrum, and we don't realize why we are feeling weighted. So when processing a shadow or a trauma, remember to grieve. Everybody's grieving experience is different, but realizing that the event or circumstance was traumatic is the first step. Basically, don't be in denial. I think a lot of people say like the 5 steps are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. So not being in denial about what has happened to you. It is for you to process. It is your trigger, your shadow, your trauma. It's nothing to do with anybody else. Nobody can project that it is not that serious, that other people had it worse, that it didn't traumatize you because XYZ. It's your truth. So, whether it's dealing with an event, dealing with a partner that might have been physically, emotionally, sexually abusive, dealing with an experience where you were emotionally, physically, sexually abused by somebody you didn't know, witnessing other people, witnessing parents go through something similar, a divorce. These are all examples. What else could be traumatic? Some people who live on farms and they witness the death of an animal, that could be traumatic to them. Losing a pet, that could be traumatic to them. Being shamed, that could be traumatic to them. And we all have to process our shadows or our trauma ourselves. So there might be points in your life where you're confronted with these things. They might not come up till years later, but you need to take time to process them. If you do not take time to process them, you will hold on to these quote-unquote weights. You ever heard the expression chip on her shoulder, or things of that nature? This is all an emotional weight that we carry around with us from past experiences. So when you process these shadows, the weight will be lifted. It's an emotional weight. Sometimes we can hold it within our bodies physically, within our shoulders, within our back. Certain people believe in chakra cleansing, where we can hold it in specific spots in our body. If we haven't been able to vocalize on some level, it will be in our throat chakra. If we haven't been able to love properly, our heart chakra, things of that nature. So everybody has their own personal perspective, but if we are going to ground ourselves in reality, I could possibly say that not acknowledging what has happened to you will cause residual effects in your life. And what we are trying to do here is clear that. Clear all that residual quote-unquote negative energy and just accept it, acknowledge it, process it,